Hi everyone. So here we are again. My name is Mohammed Aziz, and we are here with our second session of Crash Learning of Python. So today we will discuss about the operators, the condition statements, and the iterative statements, which are loops, and see how it will basically behave in Python language. Okay, so in Python we have we have a lot of operators, like we also have in all other languages. So again, this is a concept of the wider language. It doesn't matter which language you are using, but you will find this concept there. So I can basically uh, divide those operators into three different categories. The first one are basically the arithmetic operators, which you know that the plus minus division, multiplication, and they also use with the operands, etc., etc., etc. These are called arithmetic operators, which pretty much we have used in our mathematical life. So if you go further, the second one is, I will say, logical operators. Logical operators are and or not operator, or you can say that also been used like the and sign, the pipe sign, which we have, and the not sign. So we will see how those are being used. And thirdly, I will say the comparison operators. Showing my spellings. So comparison operators are basically equals to, less than, greater than, less than, equals to, greater than, equals to, not, equals to, etc., etc. So those are called comparison operators. So if we actually want to use those operators, first we need to know that how the if the condition statements are basically used in Python. So that's pretty much straightforward. Let's create two variables, x equals 10 and y equals, I will say, 20. Now, if you want to know that, if you want to compare these two, I can easily use comparison operators. But to actually show you in action, let's use the if statement. If statement is a condition statement. That's also another widely used concept in all of the programming languages. The if statement is used to compare the values and all the different operations. So if I say in Python, you can just define if x greater than y, and then just put the colon, sorry, and enter. So here we the Python is basically define the statements with indentation. So you see we are using the PyCharm ID, and it automatically add the spaces for us. So I can say print x is greater than y, and if I run this here, you will see that it's not running this one because x is not greater than y. If I change this one, y, write this one here, y is greater than x. So I will say, let's change this one, y is greater than x, and just run it. And you see here that y is greater than x has been printed out. Okay, so now see how we can basically perform the if statement and with the else. So again, if I will say y is greater than x, then print y is greater than x. And if I go with the else, then print um, you are in else statement. And if you run this one, there is a syntax error of colon, so I have to put the colon. Here we go. And you see y is greater than x. So if I just make it the same value and then run it, you see it's you are in else statement. Now let's see how we can basically have the if and else on the same line. Also in Python you can have it. So I will go with the again same int x is greater than y, and here you would basically put if x is greater than y, else print else statement, and then run it. You will see you are in the else statement which is printed out. Okay, so let's see how we can perform multiple if else statements. So what I will do, I will just copy this code so I don't need to write it again and again. Okay, so if I will just go with that, x is greater than y and print this one. And if we have one more condition here, then we can do else if, and I will say if y is greater than x, we have to perform these ones. And here we can perform that y is greater than x, and our last else statement, print else statement. And let's run this. And you see it's again in the else statement. If I change the value of x, which is 20, and run it, so it's now x is greater than y, means it is here. And if I make this y value is more than x and run it, you will see the y is greater than x. So this is a way where we can actually perform the uh, multiple conditions in our if else statement. Now let's perform more multiple conditions inside our if. So if I say if x is greater than y, or I will use the logical operator which is or, I can say y or x equals y, then print x is greater than y or equals to y. And if this way you see I have performed two conditions here. So this or operator is a logical operator. You can see all the information in this here. So if any of these conditions met in these both, if x is greater than y or x equals to y, then this will be printed out. So let's run it. So you see x is greater than y or equals to y is run. So we can have multiple different these kind of operators in here. So if I just add here and operator, in this way the both conditions should be correct. I should return true. The x is greater than y and x equals to y, which in our case not possible. So what I will do, I will create another variable g which is equals to same 30, and I will make y value to 20. Now you will see that both value will be basically met. How? X is greater than y, yes, and I will say x equals to z. And now I'm going to run this program, and we again this value is there. So this is the AND operator which we have used to actually perform our logical operators. And before we also used our comparison operators. But if this condition is met, what we can do, we can also perform some arithmetic operations. Like I can say plus x plus y, and what it will happen, x plus y will be 50. And when I run it, you will see 50 has been printed out on the console. So this way you can perform different kinds of operators inside your if else statements. So now let's see a very good operator which is called pause. Sometimes we don't need to do anything with these operations. I mean, the if else statement is there, the conditions are there, but we don't have any statement. Like there is nothing about these things or other any kind of execution. So what we can do, we can just use pause. So if I run this one, so you will see nothing will be happen because even though both conditions are met, but we just pause it, so it just move forward with the next lines of the code. Next topic is basically the iteration statements. In Python, we have two kinds of iterative statements. The one is while and the other one is for. So we also call it loops. It means we have to sometimes keep iterating the statements unless the condition is met. So let's go with the while loop. It's very simple. So if you go while, let's create some variables first. Sorry, I will say x equals 1, and I will say while x is less than 6, print and you must increase the variable value unless it will be indefinite loop and it will keep running and running. So what I will do, x equals x plus 1. Now let's run it. So in the bottom below, you will see it has printed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the loop while which we can basically use to iterate from the different statements. And the second one loop is the for loop. The for loop is basically used from the list. So if I just create a list here, I will say fruit equals banana and then orange, and let's make it apple. This is a variable of type list which contains the values of different fruit. And here I can run a for loop. So for, the syntax is very simple. For x in fruit, print x. That's it. Here we don't need to basically increment anything because we have the list which contains three values and it will print banana, orange, and apple. So for the better understanding, I will just comment this part. We just run this one, and now I will run it. So after running, you see it just print out banana, orange, and apple. So these two iterative statements, the loops which we have available in Python, and the for loop, like you said, you also see the list type of variable, which is basically used in our print statements. So I hope you like today session. It's just very quick one. So you see different arithmetic, logical, and comparison operators, and also you just go through from the different loops, the while loop and the for loop. We can just make those mixed up basically. I mean, we can also add the conditions inside those loops, and we can also have the loops inside the conditions. It's up to us. So those are the concepts which I again saying that the widely used and the journal purpose concepts are available in all the languages. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next session. Bye.